Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis coming to you from the Drew Estate Studio. With me today is Jiunn Liu, Seth Geis, John McTavish. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man.
Doing well. Celebrating a birthday of my own in a month. So there's a lead into this.
You look great for 70, though. I mean, we were talking about that in the last video, but
I think so too.
Yeah.
170.
Yeah, your nipples still point out. It looks nice.
Only when you're on, June.
Okay.
So speaking of birthdays, we are talking about the Rocky Patel 60 Robusto. It's more of a Robusto Extra, 5.5 inch by 50. Comes out of the Tavicusa factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Mexican San Andres. Binder filter, both from Nicaragua, blended by Rocky Patel. Price point is $16. Cigar was released in September of 2021. So with all that out of the way, June, take us through your experience with the cigar.
First of all, there's way too many fucking bands on the cigar.
Is there?
It's like, I mean, it's three bands, which is
not mediocre Mexican rapper, man.
No, I actually thought the quality looked quite nice.
Well,
the quality of the wrapper. No?
I'll share a picture, but you won't be able to see the wrapper.
Yeah, because
it's covered in
you got
a lot of bands on it, bro.
Look at that. That is
so much band on it, dude.
June, you can look at from that fucking head of the band to that is not a quality wrapper. Look at that coloring.
Let's see. No, it was a good wrapper.
That's low.
I think that's quality. I mean, I can't believe you're complaining about the number of bands in there, man. I think that's it's a good looking cigar, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the bands are of high quality for $16. You know, kind of better be. But anyways, I don't give a shit about the band. I don't care about any of that. I care about how the cigar smokes. So to that extent, I actually thought the first third was quite nice. Baking spice backbone, got this like subtle milk chocolate, cedar. There's a little bit of bready, kind of yeasty breadiness coming through. Not bad. Pretty good, as a matter of fact. But the remaining of the cigar, I'm going to sound like I just talked about the last review, but I got a bunch of leather off of it, a little too much leather. You know, the kind of leather in which you get that
red leather or yellow leather.
I don't get it.
Leather.
Red leather, yellow leather.
The leather that makes you call mommy. What type of leather?
Yellow leather, like
I threw you off. It's something. It's
Asian leather, yellow leather.
A reference I don't think that you guys are aware of, but it's okay.
No, he wasn't referring to you being Asian, June.
No.
Red leather, like a red-headed leather.
It was a Dan Rather or Tom Brokaw reference, but go ahead.
Oh,
you're
okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't pick up that baton.
Sorry,
but I don't like the leather in here because it doesn't belong in this style of a cigar, right? It doesn't belong with all the like the nice like breadiness and the not just cocoa, like a chalky cocoa, but like if it's like a sweeter milk chocolate, kind of a chocolate tone. I don't want any of this like stuff that's gonna be tannic and that's just gonna just last forever on my palate, you know. It's certainly not for $16.
All right, Seth, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
Cinnamon, anise, black pepper, earth, lots of leather and cocoa, medium, full strength body. Cinnamon, black pepper, dark cocoa, medium. That's just kind of what it did for the rest of the cigar after that. It just kind of went downhill after that first third.
All right, John, how about you?
So similar flavor notes for me. Sweet graham cracker, a subdued baking spices. I didn't get cinnamon specifically, but definitely the baking spices. Got the chocolate June was talking about, like a really rich chocolate, mild earth, wood, black pepper, and then of all things, I got black tea. That's I can't remember the last time I got black tea in a cigar, but black tea was definitely there in the middle of the profile. And then the cocoa kind of built in strength in the first third. So I was like, oh, this is nice. And then there was like a heavy cream on the post draw, kind of in the bottom third. So I was like, man, this is a really interesting combination of flavors that I can't say I've gotten before. Unfortunately, that complexity didn't carry through into the second third. It started out with cocoa, baking spices, and earth, but then, man, it's just like it became unbalanced. So the black tea was a little too heavy. The wood kind of became wood forward and bring with the tannins, and so like I think Jim was talking about, it just unbalanced. I didn't get the leather, but profile was unbalanced, and then unfortunately in the last third, that just continued. So it was sort of leaned into that like tannic wood, gritty earth, just a really dry mouthfeel when you throw in that black tea. And I was like, oh man. And then the earth became like a really gritty earth. And I was like, it's too much darkness and grittiness. And like, I know a lot of people really like that profile, but I was like, that is too much for my profile, my palate to handle. So not for me. Burn was excellent, of course. Rocky Patels in general are pretty excellent. Minor amount of resistance to it, but I chalked it up to kind of an intentional thing because they box pressed it, so they want a little bit of resistance. But even with that, $16 cigar, I smoked this in an hour and 16 minutes. And I was like, this is a 5.5 by 50. This should have been an hour and 45 to 2 hour and 10-ish smoking time. So I don't know what was going on there. She was smoking herself. Aaron, what about you?
Yeah, for me, the cigar started with charred wood and black pepper, but the charred wood kind of mellowed pretty quickly to a heavy toast and became more defined as oak. Some muskiness joined in a bit later. Second, third saw dry, dark earth join in and kind of maintain that profile the rest of the way. I thought the cigar started well, but I think we've all kind of said that now. But when the dry, dark earth joined in second, third, it kind of just caused the overall profile to drop a bit in enjoyment and just kind of maintain that the rest of the way. As John just mentioned, the heavy price point doesn't really live up to, the cigar doesn't live up to that, as the profile was kind of average most of the way. So I don't really see coming back to it again. I will smoke the Toro Vitola because Seth was able to pick up some of those for us. So we'll give it a shot and see how that goes. But I did have an issue with the burn. Cigar went out twice on me. So that was a bit of a bummer. So that took a score down a little bit more.
Don't thank me on the Toros.
All right, so let's get into scores. We're going to start at the top with Jiunn at 6 even. John gave it a 5.95. I gave it a 5.90, and Seth gave it a 5.60. So Jiunn, how that 6 even matchup for you?
I mean, it's a respectable score. It's an average score overall. The construction of it helped quite a bit. I think one of the reasons why all of us kind of mentioned by saying, oh, the first third was actually quite good is because we don't expect that out of Rocky. So I think the fact that we said that is actually quite a big compliment is where I'm trying to get at with that.
All right, John, 5.95.
Yeah, it matches up well. I would have been up at 6 of June, but I think the half a point, no, 1/10 of a point, I don't know what the math of that is, comes from me docking the draw. So just 50th of a point. Thank you. I haven't been watching enough Formula One lately, apparently. Yeah, I mean, if it's a commemorative cigar, you kind of expect it should be scoring higher. If you charge a $16 price point, again, you kind of expect it should be scoring higher. So a little bit of a letdown. Bring on the 50s. 50s were good. 50s were good. Next.
Yeah, my 5.9 matches up well. I mean, it was an above average flavor profile. Construction was good other than the 2 relights. The burn line was straight, draw was perfect. So it was just the kind of those 2 relights that just kind of knocked it down, kept me from getting into the 6s. So, all right, Seth, 5.60 for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
that's a good score for you for Rocky Patel.
I guess so. I mean, I guess so. I mean, geez, it's, I think John touched on it. You would think that it's like, oh, it's a commemorative 60th birthday cigar. You put something more into it, but this industry doesn't do that. Like, yeah. I think for a while I thought maybe if someone's like birthday cigar or an anniversary or even a company's anniversary, they'd care, but they don't. They just throw it out there.
All right. Final thoughts on this one from you guys.
I said 50th.
Super expensive.
Yeah, I was thinking of the 55s where they did the
Hmm.
custom molds. That was a really great project. I really enjoyed those cigars.
You know, the decades. The decade was
Decades
a
are
really good
good.
cigar when it first came out. And
Yeah.
what's the price on the decades compared to this still? Less
They're
than 10
pretty
bucks, maybe 10
reasonable.
bucks.
Yeah, like I want to say in the low 8s.
But do you remember when they came out? I feel like it was around 10, but like Rocky really spent a long time justifying $10 to
Mm.
people. Now, and that got that got a lot more attention than this will get.
You guys all enjoyed Rocky cigars early on in your cigar journey, right?
Still do.
Still
Rocky
do?
Patel-
Yeah,
Rocky
see,
Patel
I don't
edges.
know if I was ever. I don't know if I was ever
Or
like
do we not
really
know?
into anything from Rocky.
I think there was always an option, and that there was always something. I think early on for me, it's not that I always enjoyed Rocky stuff, but he was always doing something. So
Yeah.
you're always going to be able to try something.
The decades, the edges, and what was the reserve? There was a reserve that was quite good.
I was just the reason why I'm asking is because we all remember in our earlier cigar journey of the brands that we smoked, right? Especially the brands that kind of hooked us. The brand that
Patel
hooked
was
me.
not the brand that hooked me.
No, Rocky was not the brand that hooked me. Padron was the brand that hooked me. But before I smoked my first Padron, I smoked other brands for a while, and I think all of us kind of went through that journey. Like, I mean, of course, there's the obvious like catalog brands, right? Like when AJ did all that stuff for CI, right? We all remember that Man of Wars and etc. But to get out of that range and to get into stuff like Rocky, I'm curious why I even picked Rocky instead of like all the other brands out there. Or was there just not that many brands out there where I was just mainly focused on Rocky and like Pepin stuff? I don't
It's
know.
the thing.
There were a ton of brands out
Rocky
there.
was out a long time before AJ and
Mhm.
Man of War was even done. Even Pepin was. There was a long
Yeah.
time. I mean, Man of War. What was that? 2009, 2010. It's around like 2-3 years after Pepin, man. That's a long time in this industry.
DPG was killing it for quite a while.
Yeah.
That DPG is what really got me hooked.
I still find it pretty interesting that in an industry where there's not a lot of like Indians at all, like Rocky made it this big. Like that's saying something.
I mean,
He's
he-
been in it
though.
for a while.
He's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is you hear like all these gringos who talk about how hard it was to get started, and how tough it was in Nicaragua because they're a gringo. And I'm like, dude, can you imagine being an Indian guy going to Nicaragua? Like,
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
that must have been brutal for him to try and make
Back in
early
those days,
tobacco
too,
connections. Yeah,
right?
back in those
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So the funny thing is at the age of 60, that dude is still fucking hustling. If you've ever, I mean, people like to pick on Rocky, but like if you've ever been to an event where Rocky's in an event, like, dude, like, I don't know where he gets his energy from, but like that guy,
maybe like a blue pill,
maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I take the red pills myself. So
No, I hear you. I've been a Rocky vet within the last 7-8 years, I believe, and he was very charismatic and always up talking to folks. Yeah, it's not easy. That's not.
I mean, as the
I can't do
principal
it.
of the brand, that at the age and he's still doing it. So
Yeah.
good for him.
All right, I feel better about saying some good things about Rocky. Okay.
There you go. Yep.
All right, but this cigar is not that good. Anyways,
Yeah.
moving on.
Listen,
do better next time.
Nish is a fantastic guy. That's all I
Yes,
have to
Nish,
say.
super nice guy.
All right, gonna have to hold out hope for the white label. So give that a
Fingers
shot.
crossed.
Yeah. All right. If you just catch this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. Also check out the full written review on the website, developmentpalates.com. Follow us on the social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
1961.